Brilliant, thank you. So good afternoon, everyone. My name is Isabel Ramos, and I'm part of the executive committee of PARSUC. For those that don't know about us yet and are joining these events for the first time, PARSUC is a Portuguese association of researchers and students in the United Kingdom, an independent and non-profit association without political affiliation, which aims to represent the interests of Portuguese researchers and students in the UK. We function as a network to promote the research done by the PARSUC members and to bring together our community and the researchers in Portugal and in Portuguese-speaking countries. I want to welcome everyone and thank you for registering for this ENVOLVE.
Isabel, I'm not listening you.
Me neither.
Me neither.
Yeah, me neither.
Yeah, I think she went on mute or something.
Isabel, we can't hear you. Can't hear you. Isabel, we can't hear you. Isabel, we can't hear you.
Wait, you stopped hearing me, sorry. Can you hear me now? Yeah. So I don't know where I stopped, so I will introduce the speakers again. Dr. Amit Thakker, Mrs. Marloes Kibacha, and Dr. Shadrack Opon from the African Health Business. And I would like to encourage all of you to use the chat button and ask your questions or directly to the speakers. Developing entrepreneurship skills and bringing new ideas to the market might seem a challenging job, especially for researchers. Engaging early on with technology transfer offices from your institutes or researcher centers can help facilitate and understand the process of protecting your ideas and be successful bringing those ideas to the market, ensuring that you are rewarded. Similarly, there are many consulting companies that can help with this process, providing insights on business strategy and facilitate engagement with different stakeholders and decision makers. This training session aims to provide an overview of how the health sector works in Africa and where the researchers fit in that African ecosystem. You will be able to learn from African startup founders and people within this field, their experience in the journey, how to become independent and how to promote their ideas in different settings and feel empowered. So I would like to give 5-10 minutes to the speakers to introduce themselves. Perhaps we can start with Dr. Amit Thakker.
Thank you, everyone, and it's a real pleasure to be meeting the students who are going to shape some innovations in the future. So my name is Dr. Amit Thakker. We are based out of Nairobi, Kenya. That's the headquarter of our company, Africa Health Business. Our interest is to promote public-private partnerships and to grow the private sector within the African landscape to promote affordable, quality, equitable healthcare. Through the consulting, advisory and investment arms of our company, we work together with development partners, ministries of health, and other stakeholders to catalyze the growth of the health sector on our continent. I'm delighted that both Shadrack, Opon, and Marloes Kibacha are with me today, and together we will have a dialogue and discussion about the landscape on the continent as far as health innovations and partnerships are concerned. Let me now invite Marloes Kibacha, who is also here at the office, to introduce herself, and then Shadrack can. Marloes.
Thanks, Amit. I hope you can hear me. My internet is not the best, I see.
I can
Amit,
hear.
can you hear me? Yeah? Okay, great. Yeah, afternoon, everybody. My name is Marloes Kibacha, and when I introduce myself, I always explain my name first. Marloes is the Dutch part. I'm originally from the Netherlands. And Kibacha is my last name, which came over the years. It's a Tanzanian last name. My husband is from Tanzania, and I moved to Kenya in 2012 to be with my then boyfriend, now husband, and have been growing and working and becoming an entrepreneur in Africa, something I actually never expected over time, working with Dr. Thakker and in the healthcare space and seeing all the opportunities that are there and also the space that is there to become an entrepreneur, to do research and to add value. And I've been doing that since 2012. My role at Africa Health Business is I'm one of the co-founders. Together with Amit and another partner, and I'm serving as the managing director, which basically means that I'm in charge of all the operations and business development and the marketing what goes on in AHB, and I lead it.
I think we lost Marloes.
I can hear her.
Yeah, it was probably internet connection.
Yeah, my internet I think might be a challenge. Can you still hear me?
Yeah, I was just gonna ask Marloes, could you speak a little bit slower? Because it's a bit hard to follow you.
Okay.
Thank you.
I don't know where you lost me.
At the part that you and your husband are entrepreneurs.
Oh, no, yeah, my husband too. Yeah. So I became an entrepreneur actually by chance. I was working in health first on projects and all that, and saw an opportunity together with Amit and another partner to set up a business and to drive our vision and the impact we want to achieve to a next level in a business model to ensure also sustainability and to create jobs. And we've been doing that since 2015. And I serve as the co-founder, or I am a co-founder at Africa Health Business, and I serve as the managing director, which means that I lead our team of about 22 full-time staff here in Nairobi, and about 10 to 15 associate consultants that are spread over the continent. And basically, I'm in charge of everything that's ongoing at Africa Health Business. Yeah. So maybe Shadrack can also add in. So.
Hi, everyone. My name is Shadrack Opon. I'm a project manager at Africa Health Business, working closely with Marloes Kibacha and Dr. Amit Thakker in strengthening health systems in Kenya and Africa in general, continuously looking for ways to improve affordable care in Africa and just make sure that our health systems are strong enough. It's a pleasure to be in this training today and share experiences and knowledge with everyone that is present today. Thank you.
Thank you very much. So I don't know how you would like to start. I know that I don't think you have a presentation, right? So I will let you.
No, I will just begin.
Yeah.
And maybe it would be nice to hear the voices of the students who are present and see who's on the line, and then we can converse and I could kick off the discussion. So maybe Isabel, you could do a round of introduction. Who's on the call?
Sure. Viriato, would you like to start? Or Elvis?
Oh, yeah, I could.
Okay.
Hi, hello. My name is Elvis. I'm originally from Cape Verde. I currently work finishing a postdoc University of Cambridge and working on mosquitoes. And also I'm part, obviously, of this ENVOLVE Ciência Palop. And yeah, and basically I'm not sure if I should say something else.
Oh, this is great. I like if you said mosquitoes, it makes us understand who's on the call and the area of your discussions. Then I can frame it better. So I like that. So let's move to the next person.
Thank you.
Thank you, Elvis. I don't know, Viriato, would you like to go next? Sorry to interrupt you.
Yes, you can wait. Hello, my name is Riyad Tumbana, and I'm come from Guinea-Bissau. I'm a PhD, and my PhD was in malaria-related field. Actually, I'm in this ENVOLVE program working in the interface malaria and the bronchitis lymphoma. And this is the type of cancer that affects mostly children in Africa, and people think that it's related to malaria.
Brilliant. Thank you. Cruz, would you like to go next?
Hello, good afternoon. I'm Cruz Sebastião. I am a PhD student. I'm from Angola. My PhD is on HIV, molecular diagnosis and drug resistance in Angola. Right now, I'm involved in Ciência Palop Fellows, and I have a training in IHMT with Dr. Ana Becasi, and topic of HIV and bioinformatics.
Thank you. Anna, I don't know, Anna Barros. I don't know if you like just to say hello.
Yeah, to say hello, everyone. My name is Anna. I'm not a PhD student, but I've joined PARSU quite recently, and I work on science communication, and I'm really interested in this topic because I work in a very specific area, that is animal research in the biomedical science. And because we are coordinating like a global campaign, and we would like to have some collaborations maybe in Africa, I think we could have here some interesting points of the discussion.
Brilliant, thank you. Anna Abkazish.
Hello, I'm not a student, but I'm a supervisor of Cruz. I work at the Institute of Hygiene and Tropical Medicine. We have a lot of research ongoing with Africa. I personally work mostly on viral transmitted diseases, both on crossing a bit the microbiology and the public health sectors. And yeah, we are having a lot of collaborations with mostly Portuguese-speaking African countries. Thank you.
Thank you. Nady. Hello.
Hello, my name is Nady Rodrigues. I'm from Cape Verde. I'm a professor at the University of Cape Verde. I had my PhD in cancer microenvironment. In this moment, I am in the Gulbenkian program with the same project, cancer microenvironment.
Thank you. João Pedro and Sofia are both from the São Carlos Gulbenkian. Well, feel free to say hello, but if you want, or otherwise we could.
Hello, everyone. Sorry for being late, but I was taking my first dose of the vaccine COVID today, so it was well organized, but a little bit delayed. But thank you for being here, namely to the speakers and to Isabel Ramos from PARSU for organizing this together with us, Gulbenkian. Thank you for all the presence of all the fellowships and supervisors. Thank you, Anna Abkazish, for being here and other invitees. I will not take more time of you. Please continue, Sophia, my colleague also from Carlos Gulbenkian Foundation, also for presenting herself. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you all for being here. I work with communication at Gulbenkian Foundation International Development Program, and I hope you are enjoying all the sessions with Parsuk and all our guests. I wish you a very good session.
Thank you. I think it's just missing Emilia, right? Or yeah.
Olá, boa tarde. Sim, Emilia.
Hi, hello. So if you can just say your name, what you are doing currently, and what's your PhD or postdoc field?
Excuse me.
Can you hear us, Emilia?
Yes.
Hi.
Hello?
Yeah, we can hear you.
Hello, my name is Emilia Pinto. I'm from Mozambique. I'm working at the Pain and Palliative Care Service in Maputo. And, well, I'm here with you.
Thank you.
What?
I think we are all for now.
Thank you. Thank you, everybody, and thank you, Isabel and Parsuk team, for organizing this. We are actually very delighted to join you in this conversation, and I'm going to try and speak a little slowly so that we can have a good conversation. And I know English is the language we're going to use today. If you do have a query or question, please feel free to raise your hand. But we will give a little bit more time for an open discussion. I will ask also Shadrack and Marloes, my colleagues, to join in into this conversation, and feel free to ask questions. I'm delighted that Cape Verde, Angola, Mozambique are three countries already represented. We like all of them, and we've got relations with all of them. We've met the minister in Angola, Silvia Lutukuta. We've met the minister in Mozambique, and also Cape Verde, where we have traveled. Let me begin by saying that this conversation of research and developing ideas into market are relatively new in healthcare in Africa. So I find you at a very interesting and a good space to take knowledge to market. Research is not considered as a career in Africa. When many young students are asked, what do you want to do when you grow up? Very few people will believe research is a career. Many people also think that research may not provide the career growth that it does. So the investment in research in many countries across Africa is still very low. It's not given the importance as it should be. We use Israel as an example where research has been done and you've seen economic growth. And you know many other countries where research is being given importance. At the moment, the national budget of African countries for research is low. Let me zoom into health research in Africa. I think that the academia and market private sector relationship is still weak. Like in many parts of the world, I see many academicians and research institutions and universities, they are busy coming up with an idea without having collaboration with the private sector in advance. So I know some of you are working on malaria, on mosquitoes, on HIV, and you may come across some interesting ointments or ideas to keep the mosquito away. And then what happens is there is a mismatch between your ideas and private sector because they were not involved in advance whether there will be a market or not. Sometimes even packaging, how the ointment or the cream or the device or the unit should be produced in order for it to appropriately sell in the market may require a little bit of a marketing flair or a production flair. And that mismatch between researchers and academicians and the market knowledge makes many ideas not reach the right place. So, since not everyone is good at everything, my quick urge is to connect with the market in advance during your studies, and your universities maybe can do a better job. That's the first point. The second point is packaging. How you package solutions that are going to make people live longer and going to live healthier requires sometimes a different way of managing it. And packaging makes all the difference. And then thirdly is stakeholder engagement. Ministry of Health, regulators, and all legal frameworks, because there could become barriers in the kind of product that you wish to see affecting lives of many people. So all of you are working, whether you're working on cancer, HIV, malaria, the idea is to change lives of people. So when you do stakeholder engagement with regulators like the ministries, you also need to look at the legal side, protecting IP. There has been a lot of discussion about the vaccine mRNA IP. Recently, America was happy to release IP to the rest of the world. But IP and intellectual property is not the start and the end of product development, as you know. But protecting IP rights will allow you to continue funding your research and to enable your research to reach market appropriately. So we have in Africa many IP protection right institutes like KIPI in Kenya, and there are many others. So connecting with these IP protection rights, we know the TRIPS agreement, and all those agreements need to be in place as you connect. I would like to obviously invite Shadrack and then Marloes to speak, but I would like to make one more point about connectivity and relation. At Africa Health Business, we regularly organize webinars, symposiums, and forum to meet healthcare leaders and policymakers with academia institutions and many other private sector market and industry leaders. So whenever we send you information about our stakeholder engagement, feel free to log on. Most of them, actually all the symposium are in English. And if any one of you feel that they want to speak to any one of the countries in Africa, or they want to know a little bit more about the legal structure, feel free to send us an email. You will find our email address given to you by Isabel. She has kindly also posted our website on the link, which you can have a look at. And I fully support the kind of work you're doing to make life expectancy in Africa rise. Let me invite Shadrack Opon, who's been through a lot of the journey that you're also going through, to speak to us on this subject before we invite Marloes and then go for an open forum. Shadrack, over to you.
Thank you very much, Dr. Amit, for that introduction that you've made. First of all, I want to say that I like to talk about health systems as a collaboration. Most of the time, when we talk about health systems, the idea of health systems might not be similar to everyone, especially that we're at a different level of development in different countries. So we need to come to a clear understanding of what health systems is. So when we look at health systems, we are looking at the building blocks. These are building blocks that are existing in the WHO framework. So we are talking about health services delivery, health workforce, health information systems, access to essential medicines, healthcare financing, and of course, leadership and governance. So areas of research within health needs to be around these pillars. These are the areas where when we strengthen them, then we are able to have a sustainable healthcare. But what are we talking about when we talk about strengthening health systems? When you're doing a study on health, is your study focusing on strengthening any of those pillars? These are questions that we need to continuously ask ourselves. Well, talking about strengthening health systems, we are talking about something that is critical to the supply and delivery of quality, affordable primary health care and the achievement of universal health coverage. This might sound different, especially in African countries, because we are in different stages of achieving this, or we are working towards achieving this at the moment. So I want to say that picking from what Dr. Amit mentioned earlier, there is a huge or great significance of engaging both the public, private, and voluntary organizations. When we talk about healthcare systems, we are referring to a congregation of all these. We cannot make any adjustment or strengthen any single sector and leave the other one. Then we talk about healthcare system. When you talk about health system, we're talking about an interrelated kind of components that work together to achieve a common set of goals. So having talked about that, I want to touch a brief on the research aspect of it. Out of all these 6 pillars that we've mentioned, do you see a research gap? We have had students talking about malaria, talking about HIV, but is your research looking for a solution that will work in silos or isolation, because when you talk about health system, we're talking about touching on all the key areas within the system. Most of the research studies that I have come across tend to strengthen particular pillars in isolation. What do I mean? If you, for example, if you're looking at control or prevention of malaria, which side are you looking at? Are you looking at the prevention at community level? Are you also looking at what the healthcare or healthcare facilities is doing? Are you also looking at the availability of medicines or even the input by the government? So we are saying that if you look at just one side, then your solution might not take up. Let us look at what COVID-19 has brought to the world. The adoption of digital health solutions that is currently going on. This is an opportunity that has come up. So when you are doing a study, especially in this area, what are some of the factors that you are considering within your study? Is the solution that you want to come up with or you are looking into coming up with, how feasible is it within the environment? And when I talk about the environment, I'm referring to the country of implementation, where you want to introduce it. Have you considered the applicable or the available policies, or even the digital infrastructure that is available, or even the community that you are going to engage? Are they in a position, to use or rather to understand the technical requirements of such kind of application? So these are just some of the areas that we're talking about. So there's need to identify a gap within your research. And when you talk about research gap, at PhD level, we are talking about a problem that has not been answered by any other existing studies. But I tend to tell a lot of students that you do not need to reinvent the wheel. There are a lot of research gap in areas where research were done, but they are now outdated. If you look, this is why we are told most of the time that when you are doing your citations, I know you do this a lot, we need to look at those studies that have been done within at most 3 years, because after 5 years, a lot of information is outdated and a lot of people are doing research just to update that. So we do not actually need to reinvent the wheel, but we need to talk about issues that are currently affecting the society. So finally, I also want to encourage you to just keep reading meta-analyses and systematic reviews. As it is right now, even in Kenya, for you to do a PhD study, you need to have at least published 2 systematic reviews. And I know you know what this is. This is what informs your knowledge, especially on these research gaps, and even looking at suggestions for future research that has been documented in previous articles that have been published in peer-reviewed journals. Allow me to stop there and give room for my colleague, Mrs. Marloes Kibacha, to just also talk a bit in that area. Then we can open the room for discussion. Thank you so much for your time. Isabel, over to you.
I think Marloes can go.
Marloes, yeah.
Yeah, and then we'll take it from there. Marloes, go ahead.
Thanks, Shadrack. Well, Shadrack focused most on the academic part of it and the rules of research, so to speak. Let me translate it more to the practicality of the private sector. How do you make your academic research also biteable or understandable for the private sector, which are not academic persons per se, but is a regular person who might not have the academic, references, all this thing is foreign to the private sector innovate. They basically want basic to the point recommendations and a foundation to build on those, or to support those recommendations from researchers. The type of research that we do at Africa Health Business is not academic. And I know Shadrack in his PhD position might be sometimes frustrated on how we deliver the results or the reporting to our clients, because we like in the private sector to communicate with our clients. The message is best be brought as simple as possible in easy understandable language with references, yes, as a foundation on base which you give information, but you don't want to make it too academical. It needs to be practical and implementable. And if you can make that translation from the academic world towards the private sector, so that a manager at a private sector, let's say at a pharmaceutical firm, practically knows I need to do A, B, C, and D because of A, B, D, and this is A, B, and C, and this is the expected result I will get, and this is how it will benefit my business, then you have translated academic research in a practical and comprehensible and implementable way for the private sector. And there are different ways in which you can translate academic research and become interested to different stakeholders outside the academic world. You have the public sector, which is quite large in the African healthcare space, and the biggest other player is the private sector. So those two provide healthcare services on the continent. For the public sector, the most important consideration is what is the impact, or in other words, how many lives am I saving by implementing a solution or an innovation? For the private sector, it's more the return on investment. If I'm investing this much, how much is the profit overall going to be? Profit can be different things. In private sector, profit, of course, is financial because that is linked to sustainability. We need to pay paychecks, bills, taxes, all that, but also the impact. Companies, it's a misunderstanding that private sector is only see profit only as a money-making way. Profit is also impact in terms of lives, in improved living conditions, in business growth. It's not only financial as such, but for the public sector, it's a bit softer. So the message that you deliver, or how you sell your research or your outcomes, or how you want to partner with the public sector, that message can be a bit softer compared to the private sector, where private sector is mostly interested in numbers and in ROI, but different levels of ROI. Don't only focus on the financial part. As mentioned, in public sector, focus more on the impact that it has, also based on the political agenda that is driven there, because that also differs per country. Like when you talk about universal health coverage in Kenya, that means something different than what it means in Zimbabwe, for example. So make sure that you study the local policies and you know what is important to public sector decision makers at the national level. And the same you do for companies. For a private sector company in pharmaceutical, how you speak to a GSK might be different than how you speak to a Pfizer. Both pharmaceutical companies might have similar type of projects, but different priorities and different buckets of funding or innovation or strategic areas. So make sure that before you speak to any of those partners, you know what their interest is and where it lays, and communicate your research results or whatever you would like to sell or partner with in a way so that it aligns to the recipient. I think that's my main messages in terms of practicalities. I'm not a PhD student. I've done a master, so I have some academic background. But no, I'm not there yet. I've moved to the practicalities on the ground in the private sector. So therefore, my speak has been a bit practical in that regard. Key is also, and I think Amit also mentioned that, what we actually as AHB do a lot is also opening doors or making our partners known to the right decision makers. Because you can say Ministry of Health, but they're like, I don't know, 100 people working in the Ministry of Health that have some form of decision-making power. How do you know where to go? So networking, linkages, making yourself known, that's one of the key activities that you need to do if you would like to partner in the health space on the African continent, knowing who is who, but also making sure that the who is who knows you. And word of mouth travels fast. So if you have a good reputation, and you know how to talk to people and to network, that will bring you far as well. Amit, I see you're back, so please feel free to take it up.
No, thank you, Shadrack, and also thank you, Marloes, for this amazing insights that you've been able to give us. I would like to now, Isabel, ask the audience to ask questions. Hopefully this has been helpful. Let us open it up to any comments, questions, or queries. We are happy to be here to give it an open forum.
Thank you. Thank you very much. So if anyone has any question, sometimes people feel a bit shy to start. So perhaps I can start with one question: is when is it the right time to involve partners, or how do you look for them? So let's say you are doing your PhD, your postdoc, My microphone keeps going off. Sorry. So my question was, when do you start involving partners or stakeholders or other people in? I think we lost Amit. Shadrack, I don't know if you are able to answer this, as you have been on the academic side and now more on the translational side. When do you think is the right time to involve partners, or how do you see that you can empower your research by collaborating? How do you look for that?
Yes, thank you very much, Isabel. And I think that's a pretty much good question in area of research. As I mentioned earlier, we do not need to reinvent the wheel. A lot has been done. It is very important that we have a collaboration in research to just understand the areas that are of need or of the highest need. While doing research, there's what is called peer review, and this is where everyone wants to understand whether what you're doing actually makes sense or contributes new knowledge. As a researcher, the idea of adding new knowledge out of what is already existing is very important. So you need to come and collaborate or seek partnership to get input so that you do not do too much. And when you're nearing completion, you realize that this is an area that has been done or that is not supported by individual country policies. So it's very good to seek this kind of collaboration and partnership at a very early stage, just to understand what is currently going on, or what does the policy support, or even where you can get support. A lot of researchers out here are good, and very many development partners are looking to just support ideas that would contribute to strengthening of the health systems. So it is very important to share this and collaborate at a very early stage. I would suggest at proposal stage, because that is when you have a mastery or an understanding of what you're actually going to do and how you want to do it. So that would be my input in that. I don't know if I answered that question.
Yeah, yes, thank you.
I can see Pedro's hand is up.
Yes, Isabel, can I make a question?
Go ahead, yes.
Well, I'm a senior manager at Carlos Gulbenkian Foundation, a philanthropic institution that is allowing that this program ENVOLVE is created. The idea of this program is to promote the career of young researchers, African young researchers in Africa. And my question is more a point for you three to comment. And it's a tricky question, because it's a question, but it's also an opinion. How can I say? I'm also asking for enlightenment on this for us, Gulbenkian Foundation. As you know, innovation is the big buzzword of the 21st century. It was entrepreneurship before this. And in fact, the majority of our researchers comes from academia. They think the objective of their research is thesis, dissertations, articles. The points for their evaluation is, in fact, impact factors, number of articles published, and the majority of them don't have, in the beginning of the pipeline of their research, the objective of create a product or a service to change people's lives. And for me, social innovation is this, the way of changing the ways we as a society change things, from social innovation to innovation, to creating new products to answer to the people's needs. We have a global problem, It's not a problem only for Africa. I think it's also a problem for Europe and for America, to let researchers think about their research as a final product and not only as an article. Being said this, and philanthropy is one of the funders of research, what are the ways for us to promote, engage, to aware researchers of these needs? Should we put some mandatory outputs as products, as patents, as services? Should we put on the background check not only their published research, but also their products produced, their service produced, their apps produced? Should we be an investor on new products developed by research? So it's a tricky question, because it's from the philanthropic side, not from the research side. What can we do to promote innovation being part of the research process? Or nothing to be done from our side, just give money and don't ask questions. Or for example, this program ENVOLVE has a second phase, and on this second phase, we're going to support 3 projects until 150,000 euros for these 9 researchers to develop their projects in their homelands, in their home faculties. Should we put a mandatory output, not only in articles, but also in product, for example? Thank you.
You're waiting, yeah? We go together on this. We are about to go.
Okay, yeah, Pedro, Doc, if I can probably answer the first part of Pedro's question about putting mandatory output on innovations and not just maybe in publication or articles. So, Pedro, I want to say that that's a very valid question, and you're right to say that it's a tricky question coming, from philanthropies and again from academician. I want to say that a lot of decisions on research or even reviews are made from past experiences or past studies that have been done. And in a lot of conversations that I've had with people, I've always said that not everyone has to agree with a particular solution that I'm bringing on board. Otherwise, a lot of decisions are made on what we call cognitive bias. People make a lot of judgment on studies or even innovations based on their experience or based on the knowledge that they already have. So it's important to create a room for open-mindedness and awareness. If we put mandatory outputs as the basis, then we will not have innovations. Because if from the definition of an innovation, what does that mean? If someone already has or wants you to give a particular output, then it's no longer an innovation. It's something that someone has in his mind already. So let us create and some aspect of open-mindedness and allow new innovation, new thinking to come on board. I think that is what I can say in that area.
Yeah, thanks, Shadrack. Let me add to the question, Pedro. I always like to say this phrase, a gap in the market does not mean there's a market in the gap. And one big thing I see researchers doing is they like an idea and they continue doing it, and they always think there must be a market for this. I think this is such a good idea. I think everybody needs it. The world will be better. Humans need it. Remember, a gap in the market does not mean there's market in the gap. So I would like to urge researchers to start from the market and not from the gap. And when you start from the market, find out if the malaria or the cancer or any study, who is your client? Who is going to benefit? What are they currently doing? Then we can talk about patents, outputs, products. If a researcher is interested in publishing only, and that is their only idea about numbers of articles published, then that's a different agenda. But if a researcher is saying they want to make the world a better place through a product or service, understanding the market is where I see the gap. I see many researchers doing a lot of work and are engrossed, but they would do much better because then the funding will come. Facebook, Apple, Twitter, look at all the big companies. Wellcome Trust, as you know, is one funder like that. GSK, Pfizer, pharma companies. If you realize for epilepsy, you might be doing something, you might want to talk to the market and see. And you'll get lots of funding beyond philanthropy that I believe will make research better. Let me stop there.
I'd
Thank
like to
you.
ask that for you as a foundation, very practically, how you can pre-check that when you have applications is make one requirement to ask for a support or an acknowledgement letter from the private sector that supports or sees the value of the type of research to be done, you know? Not maybe necessarily a commitment because you don't know the outcome yet, but if you have a private sector partner saying, yes, this research, we believe it's important and it can help with our business, why not? Another thing in terms of maybe foundation sustainability might be also co-investing or, you know, having a small stake at a research and seeing that through the innovation state, become an equity shareholder and have like, but that is long-term, but I know the Technical University in Delft in the Netherlands is doing that. They advise researchers, they help researchers transition their research to an innovation and from innovation move it to entrepreneurship. And because they have a stake in it, a financial stake in terms of shares, they want to see that company also become successful. And they have a team themselves internally within the university to help those entrepreneurs transition to scale. And if the company does well or the innovation does well, university also gets money plowed back once they sell the share or the dividends. So long-term in terms of sustainability, both from the innovator or research side, as well as from you for a foundation side, might be an interesting sustainability model long-term. But it takes time, it takes effort to set it up. You need to have the right people also to accompany the innovators, researchers towards that sustainability company phase. But financially and sustainability-wise, it might be worth considering, yeah.
So I guess one of the things we are saying is that looking for collaboration, for example, with industry could be a potential way to fund a project together with a philanthropy, and then you can together co-create something and the financial will come and you know, more money will come to the research project. One thing that I'm quite curious to know regarding AHB is some research institutes, I know it's different, but some research institutes and foundations have a kind of a pot of money for innovators. So someone thinks they have an idea and they can have a kind of a proof of concept money to develop their idea a bit forward.
Isabel, you are muted.
I think my microphone just hates listening to me. So does AHB have some kind of money that academics could potentially apply for to develop, to do some kind of proof of concept or to develop a prototype or any other, you know, company like that in Africa, for example? How does that work?
Yeah, no, good question. We personally don't have a fund, but we have many partners we work with. I just mentioned Wellcome Trust as one partner, and they do sometimes we work with them through National Health Research Institutes. We know that Africa CDC is also very much in the forefront in Africa. So I would like to let you know that we have relationships with people who either will be funding or will have a group of funders under the research arm. We are also involved in initiatives. Recently, we got involved in the blood discussion, Coalition for Blood in Africa, where there are private companies willing to put some kind of money into the whole research agenda. So depending specifically on the kind of research, AHB would be in a position to recommend some of the researchers maybe to funders.
Go ahead, Peter.
Carlos Gulbenkian has the pot for social innovation and innovation in health. We have the maze I can share some of the links. So we are very connected with innovation. But sometimes the link between researchers and science and innovation, so that the full pipeline, this perspective of creating a product, that gives profit, sometimes is not in the head of the researchers.
Yeah.
I don't think like, yes, sometimes like Dr. Amit had said, it's different agendas. But I think that the majority of researchers have a mindset from the beginning for publishing and not for creating products. This is, we have maybe 80-20% around the world of researchers with this mindset at the beginning. So I think sometimes it's to create the mindset in the academia to create products. And Marloes, as Dr. Marloes has said, the importance of the private sector, but some of the solutions have interest to the public sector, and sometimes public sector also have the possibility to finance some of the products. It's a different reality in Africa from Europe, but for example, Dr. Emilia Pinto, that is exploring palliative care, has more interest to the patients and for the mankind as an whole, the knowledge and the creation of new systems for the Mozambican health system than for the private sector, because people are suffering, engaging costs in the public sector. Sometimes I fully agree with the importance of the public sector. Philanthropy is private money for public goods, as I can say so. But sometimes the public sector also has an interest in investing in some of the solutions, not to gain money, but to save money. And I think that innovation can also see from the perspective of not only gaining money, but also from the perspective of saving money to public sector. So this is my last question, my last comment. I don't like to take the time from the real spectators, the researchers, but also like to explore this idea of innovation, not from only from the private sector, but also for the public sector. There's any difference of the approach that researchers may researchers to do their approaches differently for the public sector? Thank you.
Yeah, I guess stuff like this, webinars like this, can also promote a way of, changing the approach. I think sharing their opinions, listen to other people, listen to people that have been in academia and have been successful in innovation, starting their own startup or, filing a patent. I guess one of the preconceptions or the misconceptions is that you cannot be an innovator and a researcher. Do you think you can choose one or the other, or do you need to choose, or?
You don't have to choose, but when you know you're a great researcher, I think it's also acknowledging where you're not strong and finding somebody or a partner who is strong in the other part. You can be a great researcher, but you don't know how to translate it to people outside the research world. If you know that of yourself, that's not a flaw, but it's an asset that you know it. So find somebody who can help you make that translation. I think, not operating in a vacuum, I think in terms of research and creating that innovation and the transition to scale is key. If you don't have the outside awareness, and I know, or I can assume that when you do research, you're in your own world, you're comfortable there, and going out there, being in the spotlight, talking to people who've not done your research, who are not in the academic field, might be uncomfortable, or, and if you know that of yourself, don't force it. Find somebody who can do that on your behalf, who might not be good in research, but understands you and can sell that message to people who can buy and partner with you, or not necessarily buy, but take it up, So I think partnership and getting out of your comfort zone. And if you're really not comfortable with that, find a partner who can do that on your behalf. I think is key.
Yeah.
Are there any? Yeah, I was gonna say the same.
I think Emilia's hand is up. Pinto.
You are on mute, Emilia.
Thank you so much. I'm working in public sector, and one of the big difficulties that I'm dealing with is Shadrack was telling that they are working in healthcare, availability of medicines, and those are the main difficulties that I'm dealing with them now. About availability of medicines, how a big problem is opioids, and I really found somebody that we had a partnership with a big institution from Africa. They are financing too many countries implementing these projects to make this medicine available for the people. But when I'm talking with them, they said, okay, we can help you, but you must find a founder. But how? If they are funding it, okay, and it's sometimes very difficult to deal with it. We are talking, we already talked with private sector, and the question is this: what can we get from this service? So how can we get money from this product that you need? So in public sector, as Dr. Pedro said, many of the times we are not looking to get money, but to make to improve the quality of life of the people. So, and sometimes it's difficult when we are looking for partnership, and at the same time we must think in a way that what we are doing can give some benefits from them. And when we are dealing with people who normally working in medicine availability, and they already have done it in many countries, and when we are asking, they say, okay, but first you must find a founder, and then we are going to help you. So it's very, very difficult. Yes, thank you.
Thank you.
Yeah. Marloes, you want to respond to that, or it was more like a comment? I think Emilia was more like her observations on funding.
I guess she also would like to know how can you sell your idea? How can you convince someone to partner with you if you think, I guess the main problem is that the people that you approach want to understand what are they getting out of it. And if you are not sure, like, how do you position yourself on this?
I think it's basically what we also do when we pitch for something. You know your customer. You need to do your pre-research. Do like a sketch. You're going to this potential funder. What is important to them? What are their objectives? What is their priority areas? And see how you can find the overlay with your innovation, with your research work, and how can you, or the work that you are doing, advance their agenda. And if you have that aligned, you're already one step ahead. So do pre-research before you meet anybody who you ask for funding or for support, and find out what's in it for me. That's basically what anybody wants in life, right? Partnership. What's in it for me? Private sector player might have a different what's in it for me than the public sector, but figure that out from the people that you would like to partner with. And I think then you're already a step ahead. Amit, feel free to add.
I was going to add to what you said. Packaging. I was telling you how you approach people. You need to know if you're approaching a pharmaceutical company, or you're approaching a manufacturing, or you're appointing some kind of a garment factory. I think how you package it. I would say everything depends on how you synthesize. Sometimes the language that researchers use, many of the people and the funders don't understand. And you need to show the why and the impact and the cost benefit analysis. And I think that is, in my opinion, the biggest bubble that separates research and market. It's the synthesizing it and packaging the idea to the market. That's only I would say.
Okay, thank you so much.
Elvis, his hand is up.
I think my question is kind of similar because, as you said previously, so we might have some ideas and we do believe honestly that our idea is the best in the world and we want to change it. But the thing is how we start approaching a company. For instance, let's imagine that I want to talk to Mark and basically sell them an idea. Should I simply phone them or I think the point is how to find the right opportunity to approach a company or a private or anybody and ask for funding to be able to pitch, because you need a contact, you need to start somewhere. And I hear just to add, because in academia, I think one of the challenge to get something to pitch to the company is that if you have something that is a little bit out of the box, which maybe have a market, what they're going to probably tell you is that this idea is too complicated, it's too risky, it's not worth investing time and money. See, this is what the academia going to tell you, but maybe the industry has a different perspective. I just wanted to understand, is there a strategy, a mechanism or a way we can approach private companies to pitch our ideas and how to start?
I mean, Marloes spoke a little bit on networking, right? Perhaps Dr. Amit.
I think the basis is you're not selling an idea, you're selling a solution. Nobody's going to buy an idea. I'll buy a solution. I think that's where it starts. So if you start thinking in the solution and advantage that you bring and how easier you're going to make their work or their life in reaching what they want to reach, I think you're halfway there. Amit, I know you have more to add to that.
I think I was going to say that every private sector is not one cluster, like ministries of health. There are many types of private sector, maybe funders, philanthropists. There are some which are small companies, medium companies, large companies. Some could be family companies, some could be listed companies. And if you are talking to Safaricom, maybe your approach in a large company will be to find that is there an appetite to fund the idea, and you get to the right person. Earlier, Marloes told you about the network, and Isabel, it's you need to know the right people in the right space to get the answer. You could be sending an email and then you get frustrated. Nobody's replying. I've sent 40 emails. Nobody's replying. Of course they won't reply. In this world, there is competition for all that attention time on the laptop. So you need to know who to speak to first, and then the how to speak to. Then you approach them in telling them and create an interest. Once the interest is generated, now you have audience. You never get a second chance to make a first good impression. So I think preparing and literally understanding who to speak to is part of the researcher's agenda. And
Yeah,
that,
just to perhaps add on that is, take advantage of meeting webinars like this to meet people. You see, you will find someone in common, perhaps, with the people that you are trying to reach, right? I don't know. I guess maybe Elva's question was also, how do you find them? You go on LinkedIn and you look for what? Or you go on Google and what do you type?
yeah. So let's say if it's Safaricom, first of all, you need to know people in that country or in that company and ask them, who is the best person to speak to? And sometimes many of our clients speak to us and they talk to us. And of course, you can use your LinkedIn. LinkedIn is a very good platform to see who is working for which company, and maybe one of your connections is connected to them. And you start asking. I think it's a wonderful platform to connect. And you're actually right, Isabel. LinkedIn is, I would say, one of the best social media platforms to work on.
I would also add webinars to it, even if you're a participant and you're not able to speak. You can note the name of the speaker. Then, as Amit said, follow up after the session. Send a message on through LinkedIn and say, hey, I saw you at this webinar. I was very interested in ABC, what you said. Link to their how do you say it? Come down to their level basically. And link up to their interest or their expertise area and find a fit like that to engage. So you have that personal connection and interest already from the beginning, from the receiving or the potential partner's interest side. Yeah. And I think in a way, what you guys need to or are already doing is basically business development. See your research as a business that needs to move to the next level. And if you approach it in a business development style and you take over a methodology that is in terms of business development applied, that's the way how you can go about that. And networking is a big part of it. Packaging is a big part of it. Knowing who is part of it. So yeah, that's all part of, in a way, business development. And that's not really that different than what we do at AHB in a day-to-day basis, because we are also trying to sell our solutions. May they not be academic or very, university-based PhD research type of work, but it is the same type of strategy that we use that you could maybe also use to advance your work to the next level.
Yeah.
Yes, Marloes, if I can chime in briefly on what you've said, I think I like the practicality with which you express these points. And I just want to say that when you present idea, nobody, as you mentioned, really want ideas. People want solutions. So it's very important that you have something that you've already done. So it works well when you talk from results. So maybe you'd want to scale. It works best from that point of view, that you already have a solution, not just an idea that is already working. Then talking out of that is easier than when you're just talking about an idea that probably a lot of people have out there but do not know how to implement. So finally, I just also want to tell every participant that is here that on 24th, we have a webinar on the power of partnerships. And since we're talking about collaborations here, I think it will be a good platform for you to log in and everyone speaking. Thank you so much. Over to you, Doc.
Thanks. No, log in on the 24th. Isabel, you can feel free. It's on the chat box, www.africahealthbusiness.com. I think the power of partnership is what researchers need as well. Riato has the hand up. Maybe Isabel, we can take the last question, and we also need, unfortunately, to log off because we have to jump another call. So if we can take this last call, and then we hand it over to Isabel to do a wind up.
Okay, thank you. And my question is related that when you have an idea or a solution and you approach a potential partner or collaborator, how open should you be with him? Because you have also to protect your ideas. So imagine that, okay, your partner, your potential partner have more tools to implement your potential solution. So how open should you be?
Yeah, very good question. Have you heard of that saying, no risk, no gain? You could probably end up with nice ideas as researchers, and then it doesn't see the day of light. It becomes paper good. So if you are too secretive and you never let it go, you are not affecting a single human being, but it is lying in your drawers and you are smiling because it's nicely done. It is not affected. So it is a balance between risk and reward. Every day in this world, people are balancing that. I think non-disclosure agreements, legal agreements, you call it what you want. You can sign any document what you want, but sometimes you have to use your own judgment. You may lose some, but you may win some. Not everybody is out there trying to copy everything you've done. They say when you take Chinese into a Louis Vuitton shop, all they do is to take photographs, and they make the same bags with 1/3 the price. It's a joke, but it's not everybody wants to take a photograph of your idea and replicate it. So it's a good question. You should do a bit of protection IP, but you should not be paralyzed. You should not be paralyzed by the analysis. Don't just be paralyzed by the analysis. Sometimes you have to take a leap of faith, use judgment.
Thank you. Yeah, just to add on that, I think if you are worried about anything, Viriat, if you think you have, some novel finding that you have never seen it in any paper or anything out there, go speak with someone within your university that, or your, supervisor that can put you in contact with a legal person that can help you with the next steps. Yeah. So.
Okay.
Thank you. So yeah, just to wrap up, I wanted to thank you very much for being here and for the speakers. I think it has been a great discussion. And I would like to encourage, if you, Dr. Amit, Dr. Shadrack, Marloes, if you feel okay to share your contacts here, perhaps on the chat, use these type of webinars to engage and start building your network for the future. I also wanted to thank, obviously, Carlos Gulbenkian, Dr. Pedro and Sofia for the support in these activities, and for all of you for being here and attending this. And as a final thought, there are some events upcoming. The next one is going to be in science communication, on science communication public engagement on the 8th of July from 5 until 6 p.m. with Ana Barros, which is actually here on the call. And thank you very much, and have a great afternoon, everyone.
Bye. Thank you, Isabel, for the opportunity. Bye for now.
Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Thank you. Bye. Bye, Isabel.
Bye-bye.
Thank you. Bye.
Thank you.